Let's take a look at our first problem. If I get my pen to work. There we go. It says, consider the following algebraic expression, 7y plus 1. And my pen really just does not want to behave here. 7y plus 1. Okay, and it says identify the first term of the algebraic expression. Well, the first term is 7y. Then it says indicate whether the term is a variable term or constant term. It has variable in it, so it's a variable term. I'll put v for a variable. And then for each variable term, identify the variable and the coefficient of the term. Well, the what are they asking for? Let me get back there. The variable and the coefficient. Okay, the variable, of course, is y. And the coefficient is the number that's in front of the y, which is a 7. So those would be our answers. Okay. Okay, step 2. I didn't read it fully. Identify the second term. Well, the second term is 1. Then it says indicate whether the term is a variable term or constant term. Well, it's a constant term. It doesn't have a variable on it. So I'll put C for constant. For each variable term, identify the variable and coefficient. Well, this isn't a variable term, so we don't need to worry about that. So that's part B, I guess. So let's go down to step 2, or step 2. Problem 2. I'll wake up here eventually. Okay, we got negative 5y minus 6b minus 6. Okay, first part. Identify the first term. Well, the first term would be negative 5y. Identify whether it's a variable term or constant term. It has a variable in it, so it's a variable term. Identify the variable and coefficient. Well, the variable is y, and our coefficient is negative 5. The number's in front of it. Now B, or step 2. Identify the second term. Well, the second term is negative 6b. It's a variable term because it has a variable in it. The variable is b, and the coefficient, a number in front of the b, is a negative 6. And our third part, I'm assuming, is the third term. Yeah, third term is negative 6. And it's a constant term, so we only need to worry about identifying the variable and so forth for variable terms. So those would be our answers. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. We got 7a plus 9a squared minus 6 plus 5a squared. And simplify the algebraic expression by combining the like terms or similar terms. Well, like term, same variable to the same power. So here's an a squared and here's an a squared. To combine those together, we add or subtract the numbers that are in front of them. Well, 9 plus 5 gives us 14, a squared. Now my next one is the a, so I'll put it plus 7a and minus 6. The only thing we could combine together was the a squareds, and I put it in standard form. Standard form means you go from largest power down to smallest. A squared, a, no a. And that's our answer. And number 4, negative 0.7a. I hate decimals. We'll see how this comes out. Minus 6 minus 0.6a minus 1 plus 0.3a. Okay, like term, same variable to the same power. Well, here's an a, and here's an a. Now we're going to add or subtract the numbers that are in front of them. We got negative 0.7 and negative 0.6. Let me start with that. That gives me 1.3. And then I'm going to have a plus 0.3. And that's going to give me a negative 1, assuming I didn't screw up my decimals. So I got negative 1a. And we also want to combine together numbers. Here's a negative 6, and here's a negative 1. And that gives us negative 7. Typically, we do not leave the 1 there, so this will be negative a minus 7. And that's our answer. Okay, number 5. Got 2x plus 3. And plus 3y plus 4. And to simplify it, get rid of parentheses and so forth. Well, first thing in simplifying is you always get rid of parentheses. And those second set of parentheses aren't actually doing anything, so I can just drop them. So then I want to combine together like terms, combine together numbers. There are no like terms, but I can combine these numbers. And I'm going to put 2x first, and then I'll put 3y, and 3 plus 4 is 7. And that would be our answer. Typically, standard form means you pick one variable, and you go from largest power down to smallest. So if I picked x, I'd put the x first, and then these don't have any x, so they come second. And then I put the constant term at the very end. Let me start a new page, and we'll look at number 6. Okay. Number 6, we got 2 minus, and then inside of parentheses, x plus 3, and then plus 2. Well, we want to get rid of the parentheses first. So there is no number here, but if I were to put a number, it'd be the invisible 1. So that's really negative 1 there. So we're going to take this negative 1 and multiply it times the x and times the 3. So we got 2, negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3 plus 2. And now we're going to combine together like terms, numbers. Here's a 2, here's a negative 3, and here's a 2. I can combine those together. I'm going to put the negative 1x first, but it just becomes negative x. 2 minus 3 is negative 1, plus 2 is 1. And that would be our answer. Again, standard form, we go from largest power of x down to smallest. 7. We've got negative 2x minus 2y minus 2. And x is equal to negative 4. And y is equal to 0. And we want to evaluate the expression. Well, to evaluate the expression, your first step is to always go through, you put parentheses where your variables are. Everything else remains exactly the same. The negative 2 there, negative 2 there, negative 2 there. Then your next step is you want to plug in the values that they give you. They told us x is negative 4, so where our x was, we're going to put in a negative 4. They told us our y was 0, so where our y was, we put in a 0. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. Negative 2 times 0 drops away, that just becomes 0. Minus 2, which gives us 6. And that's our answer. Number 8. We got negative x squared minus 2y squared minus 6. And they give us x equals 3 and x is equal to 0. Okay, evaluating, first thing we do is we go through and replace our variables with parentheses. Everything else remains exactly the same. All I'm doing is going through and replacing the x and the y with a set of parentheses. Then our second step is to go through and plug in the numbers they give us. They told us x was 3, so where we had the x, we'll put in a 3. And they told us x is 3, y is equal to 0. Okay, so that's y is equal to 0. So put 0 in where the y was. Knew something was wrong there. So then you use your order of operations to simplify it. Do what's inside the parentheses. There's nothing inside the parentheses, so do the exponents. So minus 3 squared is 9, minus 2 times 0 squared minus 6. Still doing exponents. 0 squared is 0, minus 6. Please excuse my multiplication or division. Well, take negative 2 times 0. So negative 2 times 0 is 0, minus 6. And Aunt Sally, negative 9 plus 0. The 0 is trivial, so negative 9, negative 6 gives us negative 15. And that's our answer. Let's look at number 9. Got negative x minus 6y over 2z. And they tell us x is 3. Let's see if I can write it down correctly this time. Y is equal to 0, and z is equal to negative 3. Well, again, first thing we'll do is we'll go through and replace all of our variables with sets of parentheses. Everything else remains exactly the same. The negative there, the minus 6, the fraction, then the 2 down here. Okay. Now we said x was 3, so everywhere we had an x, we'll put in a 3. We said y was 0, so everywhere we had a y, we'll put in 0. And we said z was negative 3, so everywhere we had a z, we'll put in negative 3. Well, that first set of parentheses isn't doing anything, so I can drop it. Okay, order of operations. Order of operations says if you got a fraction, do the top part completely, do the bottom part completely, then handle the fraction. Up on top, please excuse my, there's multiplication, negative 6 times 0, which gives us 0. On the bottom, all there is multiplication. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Up on top, Aunt Sally, addition, subtraction. Negative 3 plus 0 is negative 3 over negative 6. Now, negative divided by negative is a positive, so I can go ahead and do that. And then, if I was doing this by hand, not using the calculator, look, the top and bottom number, they're both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So our answer would be 1/2. Let me start a new page. And let's look at the next problem, number 10. Translate the phrase into an algebraic expression not simplified. X multiplied by the product of 2 and y. Now, the product of 2 and y, let's look at that first. These have connectors to go with them. When I say the product of this and this, the and is where your multiplication is. That says 2 times y. That right there is the product of 2 and y. And then it says x multiplied by that. So out in front here, we're going to have x times this. And I'm going to put parentheses around here just to really emphasize that's the product of 2 and y. They don't say to simplify it at all. So this would be your answer. You could even do it without the parentheses I put there. Okay, number 11. Looks like the same thing. Use the variable names x or y to describe the unknowns. Okay. 8 times the sum of 1 and a number. The sum of this and this. The connector is the and. So the sum of 1 and a number, that'd be the 1 plus x. That's right there. The sum of 1 and a number. Now 8 times that. Well, if I just put the 8 like this and put a dot there, that would just be 8 times 1, not 8 times the sum of it. So what we need to do is we need to put parentheses there, and that'll be 8 times that sum. And that's our answer. Okay, let's look at number 12. 9 times x divided by 8. There's a comma there, which implies that they want us to do 9 times x first and then divide by 8, which would imply 9 times x, comma, divided by 8. So that's how you read that. That one's kind of tricky. If they didn't have the comma there, it might be 9 times x divided by 8. I might think this is set up differently. 13. Okay. The product of a number and 4. Well, I'll use x for the number. Product, there's a connector, the and, so that says x times 4. And they're not wanting us to simplify these at all, I don't believe. Has it changed? No, not simplified. Well, let's take a look at 14. Got x minus 15 is equal to 8. If I can get it back, there we go, equals 8. Now, this is solving a linear equation, so I'm going to go through my 4 steps for a linear equation. First step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Don't have any. Third step, get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other side. So I'm going to take that negative 15 and move it to the right side. Now, when you move anything across your equals, your sign changes. So the negative 15 becomes a positive 15. Now we got a note up at top, says at any step combine together like terms, combine together numbers. 8 plus 15 gives us 23. And that's our answer. Okay, number 15. W minus 5 halves equals 5 halves. This one has a shortcut, but I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to go through my 4 steps because they work 100% of the time. And the 4 steps I'm referring to are in mathheals.com. If you're not in this particular class and you're wondering what I'm talking about. Okay, first step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Multiply everything by the LCM of all your denominators. We got 2 and 2. Since they're the same, then our LCM is just 2. And when I say everything, I'm talking about what's separated by pluses, minuses, and equals. So we'll take 2 times W minus 2 times 5 halves equals 2 times 5 halves. Okay. 2 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Here, same thing. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. If all of your denominators have disappeared, that means you picked the right LCM, or at least picked the common multiple. So we're left with 2W minus 1 times 5 is 5 equals 1 times 5, which is 5. Step 3. Get everything with a W on one side, numbers on the other side. So I'll take this negative 5 and move it over. Anytime you take anything across your equals, your sign changes. So the negative 5 becomes a positive 5. Our note up at top says in any step, combine together like terms, combine together numbers. 5 plus 5 is 10. And step 4, divide both sides by a number in front of your W. So the number in front of our W is a 2, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. And you get W is equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, number 16. Got 12y minus 11y equals 16 minus 22. Well, right away, our note up at top says that any step combine together like terms, combine together numbers. 12y minus 11y is 1y, or just y. And combine together numbers. 16 minus 22 is negative 6, I believe. And we don't even need to get into our steps. Once we've applied our note, we see that the y is already by itself. 17. 9z minus 8z plus 4 equals negative 18. Okay, our note up at top says any step combine together like terms. Well, like terms, same variable to the same power. Here's 9z minus 8z. That's going to give us 1z, or just z, plus 4 equals negative 18. Okay, first step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Don't have any. Third step, get everything with z on one side, numbers on the other side. So I'll take this 4 and move it over. Now remember, when you move anything across your equals, your sign changes. So the positive 4 becomes a negative 4. And our note up at the top says in any step, combine together like terms, combine together numbers. Negative 18, negative 4 is negative 22. And that's our answer. Number 18. We got negative 25 equals 5x. And going through the same 4 steps. First step is get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step is get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step is get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other side. That's done. Step 4. Divide both sides by a number in front of your x, which is 5. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. Negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5, and those 5s will cancel. And so we got x is equal to negative 5. Okay, let me start a new page. And, what was that, 18, I guess? Let's take a look at 19. Got 7 is equal to negative 6x. And we're going to go through our same 4 steps. First step is get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step is get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step is to get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other side. That's done. Last step, divide both sides by a number in front of your x. Number in front of our x is a negative 6, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 6. And that gives us negative 7, 6. You can put negative up on top or on the bottom or out in front, doesn't matter. And over here, these negative 6's cancel, and we've got x. So that's our answer. Okay, number 20. Negative 2 is equal to 5/8 y. First step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Multiply everything by the LCM of all your denominators. We only have one denominator, the 8, so it is our LCM. So we're going to take 8 times negative 2. We'll take 8 times 5/8 y. 8 and 8 are both divisible by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 8 divided by 8 is 1. Notice it worked because our denominators disappeared. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. 1 times 5 is 5y. Step 3. Get everything with a y on one side, numbers on the other side. That's done. Step 4. Divide both sides by a number in front of your y, which is 5. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. And we get negative 16/5 is equal to y. Those 5's going to cancel. Okay, number 21. 5/2 equals 9/8 y. Step 1, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Step 2, get rid of fractions. Multiply everything by the LCM of all your numbers, or all your denominators. And you may see that the LCM is 8, but let me show it. Let's find the LCM of 2 and 8. Remember our steps for that. First thing we did is we did the prime factorization of each one. Now 2 is prime, so we just write 2 down. Now 8, if I did my tray breakdown, 8 is divisible by 2, 2 times 4. 2 is prime, so we circle it. 4 is also divisible by 2, 2 times 2. 2 is prime, so we circle it, and 2 is prime, so we circle it. Means we got 3 2's. Our LCM. We start with our first prime, which is 2, and I'm looking for the greatest number of 2's on any single line. There's 1 here, there's 3 here, so the greatest number of 2's on any single line is 3 of them. And 2 times itself 3 times is 8. So that's our LCM. So we're going to multiply the 5/2 by 8, and we'll multiply the 9/8 y by 8. Okay, 8 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 8 and 8 are both divisible by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So we got 4 times 5 is 20, equals 1 times 9, which is 9y. Step 3. Get everything with y on one side, all the numbers on the other side. That's done. Step 4. Divide both sides by a number in front of your y. Number in front of your y is a 9. So we're going to divide both sides by 9. And we get 29ths equals, those 9's cancel, and we get left with y there. And that's our answer. Okay, let's take a look at what's different about these. Solve linear equation, simplify your answer. Oh, I'm not even looking in directions. We're solving still. Negative 2u plus 7 equals negative 9. Okay, first step, get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step, get everything with a u on one side, numbers on the other side. So I'm going to take the 7 and move it over. So we got negative 2u is equal to negative 9 minus 7. At any step, well, I didn't mention it, but we take anything across or equals, your sign changes. So positive 7 becomes a negative 7. At any step, combine together numbers. Negative 9, negative 7 is negative 16. Step 4. Divide both sides by number in front of your u. Number in front of our u is a negative 2, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. These negative 2's cancel. We've got a u, and negative 16 divided by negative 2 is 8. And that's our answer. Let me start a new page. What one was that? That was 22. So let's look at 23. We got negative 6x plus 32 equals 0. Going through our 4 steps again. First step is get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step is get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step, get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other. So I'll take 32 over. Anytime we take anything across or equals, your sign changes, so the 32 becomes a negative 32. Step 4. Divide both sides by a number in front of your x. Number in front of our x is a negative 6, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. Those negative 6 is going to cancel. Negative divided by negative is positive, so we got 32 over 6. And top and bottom are at least both divisible by 2. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our answer is 16/3. That was 23. Okay, 24. We got negative 6x plus 16 equals 20. Okay. First step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Don't have any. Third step, get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other. So I'm going to take the 16 and move it over. Now remember, anytime you move anything across or equals, your sign changes, so the positive 16 becomes a negative 16. Combine together numbers at any step. 20 minus 16 is 4. And step 4. Divide both sides by a number in front of your x, which is negative 6. Okay, so then we get x. Those negative 6's cancel. And 4 and 6 are both divisible by 2. So that gives us, and I'll put the negative up on top. But 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our answer is negative 2/3. Okay, 25. We got 3 times 4z minus 8 equals 6z minus 48. Okay, first step, get rid of parentheses. We have parentheses on this one, so I'm going to take this 3 and multiply it times the 4z and times the negative 8, distributive property. 3 times 4 gives us 12z. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24, equals 6z minus 48. Step 2, get rid of fractions. Don't have any. Step 3, get everything with a z on one side, numbers on the other. So I'll take this 6z and move it to the left side. I'll take this negative 24 and move it to the right side. You move anything across or equals, your sign changes. The positive 6z becomes a negative 6z. The negative 24 becomes a positive 24. Again, anytime you move anything across or equals, sign changes. Our note up at the top says in a step, combine together like terms. Like terms, same variable, same power. 12z minus 6z gives us 6z. And combine numbers. Negative 48 plus 24 gives us negative 24. Step 4. Divide both sides by number in front of your z. Number in front of our z is a 6, so I'm going to divide both sides by 6. And negative 24 divided by 6 gives us negative 4. And that's our answer. Let me start a new page. I have to actually grab a drink here too. Okay, now I can talk some more. Let's look at 26. We got negative v minus 4 equals negative 3v minus 16. Not even reading directions, but I guess solve. Okay, first step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Don't have any. Third step, get everything with a v on one side, everything else on the other. So I'll take negative 3v over there, and I'll take this number over here. Take anything across or equals, your sign changes. Negative 3v becomes a positive 3v. The negative 4 becomes a positive 4. Now at any step, combine together like terms. Negative v plus 3v is 2v. At any step, combine together numbers. Negative 16 plus 4 is negative 12. Step 4. Divide both sides by the number in front of your v. Number in front of our v is a 2, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. And we get v is equal to negative 6. And that's our answer. Okay, 27. We got negative 1/5 v get back there. Okay. Minus 7/2 negative 1/3 v minus 5/2. Okay, first step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. Multiply everything by the LCM of all your denominators. Now I'm going to do it over here. I'll find the LCM of 5, 2, and 3. Notice I had a couple of 2's, but I only use one of them when I'm finding LCM. Okay, so we got 5, 2, and 3. We write prime factorization of each one down, and all 3 are prime, so that makes it easy. Then our LCM. We start with our first 2, and we're looking to the right of the equals. We start with this 2 here. I'm looking for the greatest number of 2's on any single line. There's none here, 1 here, none here, so we'll have 1, 2. Then I go to the 3, and we're looking for the greatest number of 3's on any single line. None here, 1 here, so we'd have 1, 3. Then we go to the 5. We're looking for the greatest number of 5's on any single line. There's 1 here, none here, none here, so it'd be 1, 5. 2 times 3 is 6, times 5 is 30. Okay, so we're going to multiply the first fraction by 30, the negative 1/5 v, minus 30 times the second fraction, 7/2, equals 30 times the first fraction on the right side, the negative 1/3 v, minus 30 times the last fraction, the 5/2. Okay, 30 and 5 both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, 30 divided by 5 is 6. 2 and 30 both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 30 divided by 2 is 15. 3 and 30 both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 30 divided by 3 is 10. 2 and 30 both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, let's see what we have left. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6v minus 105? let me see, 35, 5, 3, yeah, 105 equals 10 times negative 1 is negative 10v minus 15 times 5 is 75. Assuming I did my basic math right. Step 3. Get everything with a v on one side and numbers on the other. So I'll take negative 10v over to the left side, and I'll take the negative 105 to the right side. Okay, so we got negative 6v plus 10v. Remember, when you take anything across your equals, your sign changes. Negative 75 and then negative 105 becomes a positive 105. Well, combine like terms in a step. Negative 6v plus 10v is 4v. Combine together numbers. 30? Yeah, 30. Okay, step 4. Divide both sides by number in front of your v. Number in front of our v is a 4, so we're going to divide both sides by 4. And those 4's are going to cancel, and 30 and 4 are both divisible by 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So our answer is 15 halves. I'm going to start a new page. Okay. And let's look at 28. We got negative 2z plus 4 is less than or equal to negative 7. And we're going through our 4 steps again. First step is get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step is get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step, get everything with z on one side, numbers on the other. Actually, get everything with z on the left side, numbers on the right side. Okay, so we got negative 2z is less than or equal to negative 7. When you take anything across your inequality symbol, the sign changes. So positive 4 becomes a negative 4. And we got negative 2z is less than or equal to, at any step, combine together numbers. Negative 7, negative 4 is negative 11. And our last step, divide both sides by a number in front of your z. So we'll divide both sides by negative 2. Now remember, if you divide by a negative, you flip your inequality symbol, so that becomes a greater than or equal to. And we get z is greater than or equal to, negative divided by negative is positive, so we got 11 halves. Now that's our algebraic form. Let's see what else they're asking for. Okay, graph it. Well, greater than or equal to 11 halves. We'll have a bracket at 11 halves, and greater than, we shade to the right. So that'd be our graph. Let's look at number 29. And we got negative 2x minus 1 half is greater than 3 halves. And again, I ignore all shortcuts. I like one set of steps that works 100% of the time. So we're going through our 4 steps for solving a linear inequality. First step, get rid of parentheses. Don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions. We do have fractions here, and you multiply everything by the LCM of all your denominators. Well, we got 2 and 2, and since they're the same, our LCM is just 2. So I'll take 2 times negative 2x minus 2 times 1 half is greater than 2 times 3 halves. Well, 2 and 2 both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Same here. So that's 1 and that's 1. Now all of our denominators have disappeared, so that means it worked. 2 times negative 2 gives us negative 4x minus 1 times 1 is 1. It's greater than 1 times 3 is 3. And was that actually a greater than? Yeah, it was. Okay. Step 3. Get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other side. So I'll take this negative 1 and move it over. Remember, you move anything across your inequality symbol, the sign changes, so the negative 1 becomes a positive 1. Add numbers in any step. 3 plus 1 is 4. And then our last step. divide both sides by a number in front of your x. Now, number in front of x is a -4, so we're going to divide both sides by -4. And remember, if you divide both sides by a negative number, you flip your inequality symbol. So then we get x is less than -1, and that's our algebraic form. Now the graph, since it's less than, it's going to the left, and less than, when it has a line underneath like this, it's a bracket, remember. When there's no line, it's a parentheses. So our graph will look like this right here. Last problem. Does it not want us to graph that? Oh, graph it. It's on the second page. So we got 3z. I think I can actually fit that on here. 3z is less than or equal to -9. Going through our 4 steps. First step, get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Second step, get rid of fractions, don't have any. Third step, get everything with a z on the left side, numbers on the right side. And step 4, divide both sides by a number in front of your z. Well, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Now I'm dividing by a +3, so this time I don't flip the inequality symbol. And those 3's cancel, and -9 divided by 3 is -3. Now it's a less than, so it's going to the left. Specifically, there's a line underneath here, which means bracket. And we shade into the left. And those would be your answers. And assuming I didn't make any basic errors anywhere in this review, then that's your review for this test.